So hopefully I haven't transitioned this too early. Oh, there we go, all good in the hood, as they say. So, I should have asked Fabio if he wanted to come and screen share this actually, because he sort of deserves to. This is really his tournament, so spawning on the bottom side of the map. It's player number 1 today, the blue Egyptian player, is Taz, playing as Pluto, his Egyptians. So that should be good fun to see. I've never actually seen him play Egyptian before. I think I already mentioned that. So he's found a second hunt now as well. So spawning on the top side of the map as the red Norse player. Today we've got Hippie playing it from Niflheim. That's really hard to say. Like, couldn't it just be Niflheim? It's Niflheim. So anyway, guys, I'll get back to what I was saying about Flavio. So, big shout outs to Flavio, known as Empire ESB on Twitch, for hosting and organising all this. He's just really got me in to help cast him some games, so big thank you to him for that. So, it looks as though Taz is taking his early dock right now. And he's also getting hunting dogs, which is interesting. I think I've already mentioned this already this series in an earlier game. It's generally not advised to take both because you're spending 125 resources to gather from your huntables quicker. But then you're only going to end up with a huge amount of food in the bank if you're also getting an appropriate amount of fishing ships, which is usually about 2 to 3 early on, and then getting up to about 5 or 6 and taking a second dock later on. So it's sort of a big commitment here from Taz because Hippie, in the meanwhile, he hasn't gone for a dock at all. He's just gone for his barracks, so he's going to get early spearmen out on the map quite a fair bit earlier than Taz here, if Taz even opts to go for them. And this has now been scouted by Hippie too, so Hippie knows all about what Taz is doing. Taz can't afford a fishing ship just yet because he spent all that earlier wood. He spent 75 wood on his hunting dogs, so yeah, now only just now he's going to be able to afford the fishing boat. It'll be worth it in a sense, but yeah, he's already got 6 workers over here, and he's got hunting dogs, so he could have honestly stuck with the hunting dogs, skipped the dock, got a barracks, and then gone on the water later. Or, you know, skip the hunting dogs, gone on the water, and got the fishing ship out earlier. But, you know, hindsight's sort of 2020, and that's a bit unfortunate, PP. It's a good time to actually scroll up there and see that, the scout getting killed. And so the scout of Taz is actually going to miss this spearman who's coming straight down onto the dock, I think. Does Hippie... Actually, no, Hippie's opting to go straight for the hunt, so this is probably an even better play, considering there's that many villagers there that are now, instead of going to be gathering the food, we're probably over-gathering food. They're going to basically be gathering nothing unless Taz basically rallies them onto something else. Taz actually going to go for an early barracks now. Hippie's production has been empty so far. 15 to 15 is the villager count. Hippie's house at the moment, that'd be why. So there we go, he's forcing out a longhouse with 3 workers. He's going to try and get that out as quick as possible. He's got 3 spears back at home, so 3 out of 4 of them doing nothing. One of them just patrolling the map, denying this hunt here. He's probably going to get the storehouse eventually, but it's only 5 damage at a time, so it's not as though he's got them all here chipping away at this, so this could be a little while. There will probably be 2 spearmen out in time to deal with this. Although the spearmen, they can't fight 1-to-1. The Egyptian spearman just has so much less health, and it's actually only got 10 damage. They've both got equal damage, but yeah, the Egyptian one has so much less health because it's a 45 cost unit versus a 55 basically. So the civs with more expensive spearmen do actually get a bit of value out of that in the sense that they are nearly always tankier, like the Norse, Greek and Babylonian spearmen are the tankiest out of the 5 spearmen, while the Celt and the Egyptian ones are significantly weaker in terms of health pool. But in terms of the damages, Celt ones actually have the most. Babylonian and Egyptian, no, Babylonian and Babylonian and Greek, sorry, have 1 extra damage, I believe. I could be wrong about that. No, Babylonians might only be 10, but yeah. So this storehouse down here in Taz's base does make it out alive, but there is a spearman of Hippies that gets sniped there. And now there's Axeman out as well, so H2 being taken by Taz. Doesn't have the stone yet to go for his town center. Hippie already has overgathered his stone for a town center, but he's going to get the town center nonetheless, so he's a bit behind on the water because he hasn't got the 2 docks, but he's got the, he hasn't got the 2 fishing ships, but he's got the dock now, so he can catch up on that front. Taz is not actually producing anything at the moment. Hippie's still got a villager in queue at least. There we go, so it's really important, guys, to just have all your stuff on control groups so you can just press a button and flick to it. So Hippie still, he has that dock, hasn't got anything producing out of it yet, so he can afford the fishing ship, and he knows about his opponent's fishing ships. He might even be holding off to get the long ship actually. He doesn't seem to be producing any more throwing axemen at this point in time, so I'd say that's probably what he's looking at doing. Actually, he's spending some more wood on this stuff here. It's pretty interesting. He's going to go for the wharf, but the wharf has only 75 food on it, so that's only a couple of units there. It's not as though it's a couple of hundred. And all this is going to be... Oh, so Taz is going to see this. So it's a bit unfortunate for Hippie because Taz is going to be perfectly positioned to mop these guys up. Actually, he's got axemen there. So Hippie... Oh, Hippie actually does pick a villager off there, so... Oh, he's going to pick the second one! Oh! Hippie does it. So Hippie manages to make that worthwhile. He picks off those 2 low health villagers of Taz, sending him back down to 24 villagers. So now Hippie's on 25. Does actually have a lead in that regard. I think Taz has only just sort of realised he hasn't been building villages for a little while. And he's up to 4 fishing ships though, so this is a good idea as well. Splitting your fishing ships up, because if they get too crowded, they just end up having that much unit collision, and you're going to need to send them here later on anyway. It's going to give him a bit, give him a bit more time in knowing when this is coming through if he's paying attention to his map, but I don't think he is. Now he finds out, and he's got to try and scramble until the trireme gets here and not lose the fishing ship. Oh, so it does fall, but the trireme is going to have an easy time against this long ship because the 3 fishing boats can help assist in this fight. They just don't want to overextend with any one of them because the long ship probably can kill it in time. But it looks like the long ship is forced back home with its tail in between its legs. Taz has just got his scout sort of set up here, which is a bit interesting. This is a bit of an interesting sort of opening. Well, the other side, yeah. This is a bit of a strange hilltop here, but they always are on this map. So, Taz having gone for a second ship, Hippie also going for a second ship. In fact, he's going to get some more... he's actually going to repair the long ship and get some more fishing boats. Well, he's only got the 1 so far. So, it'll be 3 fishing ships each, but it looks like on the land, Taz has still got that small unit advantage, but that's not to say that Hippie can't catch up because he's actually getting his stables in the meantime. Taz's will be slightly quicker though, so this is going to be good for Taz because if he can get an even number of camels fighting against raiders, he can have a huge fight go his way. Somehow the ships have just completely ignored one another here, and Taz scrambling back now to defend because his fishing ships are under attack first, so this is going to come to really hurt him, I think, because Hippie has gotten straight in to do the damage. Taz sort of microed around the edges there to not get seen, and it sort of was his undoing because he didn't run into the long ship, so he's going to lose all 3 fishing ships now. He's lost 4 fishing ships on the water. That's pretty big loss, really. 400 wood. Doesn't have the gathering that his opponent has got 3 ships for, so... But it's 3-2 on the water in terms of ship count. As long as Taz can micro this one well and try and back it out, he can actually take both these ships out quite quickly. Ooh, so Hippie actually gets the kill there. And actually going to get out with that long ship. But he needs to move this one out because Taz is stacked up right on top of it, which means it's going to be the easiest thing to hit in the world, like shooting fish in a barrel. But Both the long ships do get out of there with the tail in between the legs, and Taz isn't opting to chase because he's paying more attention to the land. He's got a couple of camels heading out towards the top side because he knows about this. He's just scouted it, I think. Yeah, so Taz should know that this is going on, so he just needs to run his units in right now. Get a couple of nice easy kills. Hippie in the meanwhile needs to get these ships repaired, but that's probably a few too many villages. I'd probably have only sent one, maybe two, or even just use your ships to repair. Actually, oh, okay, I see what Hippie's going to do. Hippie's going to try and take him on the island. Okay, alright, this might be a replay of the game between Hippie and Alpha Leopard, actually. So I think a couple of workers actually get killed there. 43 to 37 is the worker count at the moment. So Taz not producing his workers as consistently as Hippie at the moment. And Hippie is going to be in a nice spot to actually take a town centre here. I think he's just going to gather some wood just in these clumps and then straight down the town centre. But Taz has certainly got more on the land at the moment, has his own age 3. Can really look at dealing some damage here with the camels. Who's going to get the early age 3 town centre, eh? It might be Hippie. These camels are in a really nice spot too, but there's only the 2 spears, 5 spears to actually deal with this. 2 of them are actually building another barracks. So, I don't know if this is a good fight for Taz to be taking though. He probably should just try and snipe this and get out, but he actually is going to stick around to fight. I mean, I suppose if he gets the raiders, they're going to be worth nearly as much as the camel. All the camels do fall down, so that doesn't end up really going Taz's way. He needed to really try and either focus this down and get out, micro the low camels out, or even just go straight onto the workers and then get out. So there are some horsemen now on the field for Hippie as well, so these guys are going to be a bit beefier than the camels until they get the champion upgrade, I think. And now Hippie going for the H3 town centre on the island. He knows what he wants to do now. He's going to be able to have free reign of the 6k gold here, then there's 2,000 stone, so there's a nice amount of resources on that island. There's probably about 1,000 wood as well, so getting on this island, and it's even got shoreline fish, so you can get an awful lot of value out of that pissy little island. And it looks like Hippie wants to deal some more damage on the water because he knows he's got to try and keep this unscouted for as long as he can. Because if you can get all the way to age 4 without Taz really figuring out what's going on, it can really work in Hippie's favour. He can tower it up, he can fort it up. Taz might not be so aware as to why his opponent might be lacking so much on the land, or might not even know that he is lacking on the land. Hippie's getting a lot of eco-techs at the moment. Taz has actually got a lot himself. But there's no actual armories for either player. Hippie getting a fortress on the land just to sort of keep his opponent's eyes out of his base. And there's no armory for either player yet at this point. Oh, that's some nice hits there, but he needs to try and do it without tanking shots himself because now it's a 2-2 fight in the water, but Taz has got a bit of a health disadvantage against Hippie at the moment. There is a fire ship coming out though. And these things hit really slowly, but they hit very hard. And Hippie doing a wonderful job at actually microing out of dodging the first 3 shots there. Wow, so Hippie actually dodging more shots than he's receiving at the moment against this fire ship. Is this bloke in the long bloody ladder? Like, holy, so he kept both the long ships against the fire ship, snipes the fishing ship as well, so wonderfully done there, Hippie. He's gone for a proxy barracks over here. He's got horsemen over here. Taz has not really much choice but to actually try and fort up his own base and just try and play the long game, but he's the one on the land and Hippie's the one with the island under control, so he needs to be very careful right now, and he is falling further and further behind in score. Hippie is just really lapping it up. Villager counts 69 to 63. And those horsemen do get found out eventually. This is interesting. I'm not quite sure what this is supposed to achieve. A fire ship from the Norse player now. So that's probably a bit of a waste in a sense at the moment. But later on in the game, having this stuff on the water could really make the difference, because once the wonder goes up, it's a 10-minute hold on this little island. So if that's what Hippie's aiming to do, he's going to need to try and survive in both locations. He's got a huge number of farms here, 16 farms, and there is 6 camels inbound, while his army is sort of preoccupied with trying to kill the scout and head towards his opponent's base. So as long as Taz can get in here with the camels, and he does lose one, if you can get in here and deal some damage on the farms, maybe snipe that longhouse, and just get out of there before anything shows up again, then he can really be better off for it. But right now he's low on food, low on wood. Hippie's got a good bank of everything, brought everything back, which is a bit wasteful really. He could probably just drop the farbs off here, have the ships defend him, and then just, yeah, does he know about that town center? Oh, sorry, wrong screen. So Hippie knows about this town center, so he probably would actually be best off sending the farbs here, having the ships just guard them for the time being, and then defend, you know, with the spearmen and stuff back at home as he needs to. In the meantime, Taz needs to really look at getting down here, because if Hippie manages to really fort this up, it's going to be impossible for Taz to get on the water and repel a wonder at all. And I think that's what Hippie's really aiming for. He's got a lot in the bank here. He's gathering an awful lot. He's spending an awful lot. 75 to 83 is villager count actually. So Taz actually doing a bit better of a job now, because he's got his caravans out. He's got 3 town centers, been consistently producing the villagers, but he doesn't know at all about this down here. So Hippie has perfectly hidden this little fortress here, so he can run farbs from another part of the map into his opponent's base, maybe even take a second over here, completely deny the gold mine. So, ooh, the camel's actually coming in, dealing a little bit of damage, I believe. 79 to 85. Actually, I don't think the camels did any damage at all. I think Taz has just run them by without really getting much value out of them. He's just wanted to try and save the camels for a big fight. Yeah, that might be what he's done. So he's going to come in here, but he's running into spearmen with camel riders, so that's not a very effective trade for him. He's got the Axeman champion though here. So the elephants coming straight onto the cavalry. They are cavalry themselves, aren't they? Yeah, so they are cavalry themselves. Good area of effect damage on those couple of units, but they need to get on the buildings to really work their wonders. These towers here, if they manage to go up, are really going to slow down this push. And meanwhile, on this bottom side of the map, there's no farbs coming out just yet. Taz with a really nice push here into Hippie, but Hippie does have some tricks up his sleeve still. Taz certainly hasn't got the bank his opponent's got right now. He does have all the pressure on top of his opponent's production facilities though, on the land. And this camel split off is really nice. It's going to deal some damage to these gatherers over here, while the infantry and the elephants manage to lay waste all the production facilities. And Hippie doesn't actually have a lot this game. There's not a lot on the land at all. He's going to have to work to defend this really well. And Hippie's not really making much attempt to actually defend it at the moment. I think he's sort of just trying to clear a path as best he can. Chop that little tree down. Try and get the wonder up as quickly as he can before Taz can really afford to take the fight once he has really won the land back now. And there is still... Here we go. So there is a couple of farbs here. The units actually unfortunately blocked by the double barracks. So they're stuck. And those farbs getting mopped up pretty quickly in the end. So this second town centre of Hippies is being focused down, because the first has the fortress defending it. So the second one is in a really dangerous place, but There we go. Now the Wonder has gone up, so Hippie really likes playing base around the Wonder on this map. But he needs to get it up. He's got no town center in here anymore. He's deleted the TC. He's got the wood and the stone to be able to throw up another TC. But yeah, basically Taz is going to be tipped off as the fact that the only land town center is this one if he takes it, basically. This Wonder is going up. Taz does know about it, so he's coming down here to try and clear all this out. Some Alphadens actually being built here, which aren't the best choice. I mean, they are better against the War Elephants, but it just means that the Axemen are going to kill them instead. All the villages that Hippie's got are being transferred over. They do manage to make it out there, but what's on the land here is still of a bit of a value here to Hippie. He's still gathering a little bit of food, and there's obviously the town center and the longhouses. These villages can be used to build and gather elsewhere around the map until Taz runs them down. So Hippie certainly isn't done for right now, although it's a cheesy bloody transition to try and fit it in that quickly, but it's funny and it's fun to cast. I'll say that much. So Hippie forced down to the stage where he doesn't have a town center yet. He needs to get one up on this little island here and get some static defense up. So there's the town center. Taz, in the meanwhile, needs to try and clear through this as quickly as he can. Needs to keep producing stuff. And he is still sending units over, but he's got a lot of idlers here, and that's going to hold him up. Idle villager there as well. He could even send his scout in just to tank shots if he really has to. So Hippie has the town center up. Never looked like dying there. But the Wonder isn't actually being defended at all just yet. There's no stone left here for Hippie on this island either. He's got to try and get mainland stone, which he can't anymore. So he's going to have to try and get a market up and transfer the resources across, because he doesn't actually have one, I don't think. So he's getting the market now over here, and probably the safest spot on the land for him, other than maybe like right up here. But it might be a bit too little really, because he's going to have to transfer a lot, dump it all straight into stone, maybe even into some wood. He's got these fish to distance gather with, I mean to shore fish gather here, which he could do, I suppose. But here on the land, Taz is trying to set up at his own little base, on his own little shoreline here, but the units are sort of helping prevent Hippie from getting too close to try and snipe this. There is only 4 villagers building it though, and the siege ship, until it died, was actually doing quite a bit of damage there. But now here come more villagers, so this is going to be very hard for Hippie to try and clean up. Oh, and that fire ship not focusing the fortress is going to hurt Hippie in a sense, because that's what he needs to be focusing down all the static defense here. Taz is really cleaning him up on the land at this point, and Hippie hasn't yet got to the stage where he's got this nice and turtled up, towered up, forted up. He's getting a good number of docks here though to defend it with. And here we go, he's gathering the stone all sneaky up here. This is something else, guys. Games with Hippie on this map are unbelievable. He's got no fear at all, this kid. No fear at all. 3,000 stone and 3,000 gold in the bank. So Taz needs to get something on the land here of that little island. So he's getting a merchant transport out as well. He's not making the mistake a lot of players make, where they don't actually get a merchant transport, because really all you got to do is send your warships here, so your opponent pulls all his ships over to fight. Send the transport here, land here, and yeah, deal some damage on the land before your opponent can really get set up. But Taz needs to make use of all these units he's got idle in his opponent's base, destroy the last couple of buildings up here, which he might actually know about a lot of this stuff, so it's been really good for Hippie to move up in there in that little pocket. So these villagers are going to have to make a break for it. I think they will be fine. And Taz has this little merchant transport, but it can't actually get out of that shitty little pond. So both players having a bit of an unfortunate run-in with the map here, with Hippie's units getting caught up there and Taz's dock here being relatively useless. But Taz is going to have to really deal the damage now, because Hippie has got him under the pump. There's only 6 minutes left for Taz to wrap this up right now. Villager counts is 56 to 99, so Taz has all the economy he needs to break through to this, but it looks like Hippie is going to continue to try and work his way around the map. Taz destroying that dock on the land of Hippie's, but Hippie's got plenty here in the water, and he's got all these fire ships, but Taz is doing a good job at actually dodging these shots now. Baiting them all out, so a couple of the fire ships falling, but also a fair few of these triremes actually falling right now. And a lot of those shots being absolutely wasted. Another trireme falling. But Hippie doesn't have a lot of wood at the moment. And all this stuff up here is being found out, so Hippie's relying on the market, got a lot of idle villages at the moment. Needs to get some static defense up to be able to defend this, but Taz hasn't got long now. He needs to get some units out. Needs to get something on that island, some siege of some description to start clearing through all that. And these units as well are probably best off being brought back home. But Taz is still cleaning up on this top side. Eventually Hippie is going to have to throw up some more longhouses, otherwise he can only get so many ships. And they are quite big buildings. So now Taz actually does make the landing, so he's going to get these worker kills and going to go straight for the Wonder actually. Probably would have... Oh, he might actually snipe the Wonder at this point. He's got 5 elephants. Still got 4 of them left. And they're going to get the Wonder, so Hippie does lose the Wonder. GG, well played from Hippie. I think he realizes he's that far behind, and what a game, guys. Holy fuck, that was a crazy game. That was unbelievable. Taz, I was not lost into a Wonder victory. So villagers trained for both players. Probably could have done with a little bit more work there, but man, once it got down to that Wonder game, that was truly something else. But I think Hippie probably invested a little bit too much into trying to play around that style. Maybe could have bought himself a bit more time on the land then, because he's got about, oh, what's that, 13k resources in the bank just about. So even though he goes down on villagers for a lot of that stuff, I think he just needed to buy himself a bit more time on the land. Yeah, man, that was a game and a half. Okay. Alright, I will do, man. I completely forgot about the challenges. Alright, guys. Alright guys, well I might grab something to eat and come back and maybe stream for half an hour later. Yeah, I just gotta get some food into me. But thanks for tuning in, and big shout outs to Flavio for hosting this and all the players that signed up. So yeah guys, this stuff wouldn't happen without you, so thanks for that. See you guys later, eh? And yeah, spend up those resources. Don't end up like these guys.